I just created a video the other day called Ask How, Not Why, whenever we're experiencing some type of pattern in our life that's unwanted, whether it's something happening outside of us or some type of feeling that we keep running into over and over again. Whenever we ask the question why, we typically entrench that pattern further because we're finding reasons to justify that pattern's existence. Where when we ask the question, how am I creating this? We put ourselves in the driver's seat and start to look at what is our participation and what is the way in which we are creating this experience again and again. So someone here watched that video and they asked me to use an example from relationships. And so the example I have here is one of maybe someone who is experiencing themselves as having poor boundaries. So if you ask, why do I have poor boundaries? You might come up with all these reasons. I'm weak. The person will leave me if I draw boundaries. I'm not important, or what I have to say doesn't really matter. And then it's kind of case closed and we move on from there, and we don't really get out of the pattern. We just feel worse about it. But if we ask the question, how do I create poor boundaries? How am I creating poor boundaries in my life? We, number one, start to take responsibility for our creation in that. And we start to illuminate the process by which we're creating poor boundaries. And so if we were just to open this up, one example could be is that we see someone do something that we're not okay with, and then we feel hurt or unseen. And then we say to ourselves, well, they'll leave me if I speak up, or they'll think I'm stupid if I speak up, or I tell myself I'm overreacting to this and that what I want isn't that important. And then what I do is maybe I even see a picture of the worst case scenario of them rejecting me and things going the way that I most fear. And then at that point I get fear in my body, and then I suppress anything else inside of myself. And then I get some sense of temporary relief by saying, you know what, I'll speak up next time. Next time I'll speak up. I won't let this happen again. And then what happens here is we have illuminated the perfect strategy for how we create poor boundaries. And the beauty of seeing it this way is that if we see it as a strategy rather than an identity statement, we can actually slow down and we can begin to interrupt that process, and we can begin to question the assumptions, the underlying assumptions that are there that are supporting this process from executing again and again. And we can start to install new beliefs and new ways of looking at the situation that are more truthful, that are more connected to reality, that allow us to have a different response. And we can start to construct a strategy for having strong boundaries rather than being a default place of having poor boundaries.